Hey, this is Kutski and you are listening to HardStyleReport. Inspiration to start in the scene was a tough one because I listened to so many different artists. I mean, if I had to pin it down to one guy, I'd probably say Hixie from the UK hardcore scene, because I remember hearing him. He did a mix on the Bonkers albums. It was the very first one that I got hold of that, and that was the first time that it went from just being a fan of the music and really liking it to kind of like really wanting to be involved in it myself. You know, kind of like that was the point where I had to think, well, it's like, I can't play the piano, I've got no music production skills at the moment, so how can I get involved in this? Well, I can do this DJing thing. So, it was at that point on that it went from, kind of wanting to just, buy music to listen to it to actually wanting to, buy the music with the intention of getting involved in the industry somehow. So yeah, I would say if it was down to one person, it would be Mr. Hixie. Right. The Neon Nation thing, it was kind of what we got a little bit sick of doing with the albums, is calling them Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. So on the last album we did, we thought of kind of what Keeping the Rave Alive stood for. So we went with Rave's Revolution because it felt that it was almost like a revolution of the harder styles that was really starting to kind of take over. So we wanted to run on that concept, but obviously something new and fresh. So we kind of look back over the last 12 months of what we've been doing with the Keeping the Rave Alive, and especially the live events. And you couldn't help but notice on all the photos of festivals, even that I wasn't playing at and we weren't involved in, you could just see these glowing four colours in the distance of like the Keeping the Rave Alive people. And it's, we felt that it was like our crew that were like all around the world, everywhere at all points. And it's like and of course like you want something that's kind of nice, alliteration that rolls off the tongue. We had kind of Rave's Revolution and then Neon Nation. We thought kind of really summed up what we've been about over the last 12 months. So it's kind of we went with that. Collaborating with different artists, if anyone's familiar with my work, it's something that I do quite a lot, and the reason why I collaborate so much with people is like I really don't have the patience to sit in the studio like a lot of my colleagues do, sitting there learning sound design and stuff. I mean, the way that I've always seen music is I want to play with the Lego bricks, I don't want to build the Lego bricks. And as hard as it is to kind of really nail one sound of production to be completely fluent and at the top of your game, I also want to produce lots of different styles of music as well. So I've got a lot of different inspirations and I play a lot of different styles in my sets. So so I tend to more like my approach to production is very different than a lot of other people, where I'll kind of have an idea, when I'll see a DJ play or I'll hear a track and I'll think that could work amazingly as a happy hardcore track. And then so I'll maybe sketch down some ideas, kind of like roughly template that thing down, and then think, okay, well, like who's the best in the UK hardcore scene? That's one of my friends that I want to work with, plus spend some time with outside the clubs and stuff. So a recent example is when Soundrush did the Take Me Back tune, and I heard that and we played it at 170 BPM on the show, and I was like, this is a perfect happy hardcore tune. So I kind of had to play around with it, and then I hit up Darren Styles, who's obviously one of the key leaders of the scene, and then we did that track together as a collaboration, because like obviously the amount of work and effort that Darren's put into be the top of the production game with there, it felt like kind of like that we could put something really cool together. So I'd always think of myself as more of an ideas man than rather than sitting down and getting into the nitty gritty of sound design. So back to the question, who would I like to collaborate with? I'm kind of fortunate in the position that I am, because I'm friends with most of the people that I really kind of really respect their work. So I already collaborate with a lot of people, but obviously I've done a lot of work, probably more so than any other one artist, with Audio Freak, because we get along, we kind of almost chalk and cheese with our approach to some things, but then we've got like this kind of like unspoken bond in music in other ways as well. So it's kind of, I think we really kind of complement each other's style, and we work really well together in the studio. Obviously Sam's been super busy finishing off a new album, so when that's all wrapped up it'd be cool to do something else with Sam. And as a complete outside of the box unpredictable answer, I'd have to say somebody maybe like DJ Shadow. I grew up listening to a lot of DJ Shadow tracks, which is for anyone that doesn't know, more abstract hip-hop, ambient, weird stuff, but he was the king of sampling. And as I said earlier, my philosophy on music's always been, play with the Lego bricks, don't build the Lego bricks. I like taking elements that are already there to create something new. So even though it's completely different styles of music, I think that could be, like a really interesting arrangement. Advice to the fans to grow the scene out in America, I think pretty much doing everything that they need to be doing already. I mean, the main thing that I always say is, when everyone comes up to you and says, oh, thanks for, what you're doing, or thanks for coming out here and playing. So I've got the easy job, I just get to turn up and play records and have a great party. The most important thing is that people are there to play to. So the most important thing anyone can ever do in any scene is attend the events. These days, it's not to go too deep down the industry rabbit hole, but there's not much not much money in producing music anymore. The main way that artists get paid is to play shows, and you can only play shows if people come out to attend, and promoters that are obviously wanting to bring talent over from Europe, and then of course to represent the interstate DJs as well that are really smashing it in America at the moment. As long as people are going out and turning up to the events, buying tickets, then kind of promoters can run more events, go for bigger lineups. The DJs can come over. The promoters can get bigger DJs each time, more DJs each time, and then who knows where it can lead to with there. So I think as far as advice to how to grow the scene, I think you're doing it. I've just been. This is my third weekend out in America consecutively on this tour, and I think it's about the fourth time that I've been out this year, and all the parties have always been amazing, like great atmospheres and great numbers. So yeah, I think just basically keep doing what you're doing and keep coming out to the party. All of my future plans pretty much happen on the spur of the moment, if I'm honest with it. It's like I said, the most recent track that I finished is the remix for Sound Rush, and that wasn't something that I could have sat there and gone, okay, I can work with these guys and I can do this remix with Darren Styles. It was just a case of one day I was playing a record at the wrong tempo and I thought, hey, that sounds really cool. So I just kind of jumped in and did it. So it's I think whenever I try and plan anything too much, it never turns out too well. But whenever you have that spark of inspiration, which could be I have to fly the long flight, transatlantic flight home on Sunday, and I could get a flash of brilliance halfway through it and sketch down an idea, and then that could be the next project that I'm working on. Or when I'm jet lagged and tired next week, so an idea could pop into your head. So a lot of people can get up in the morning and sit in the studio and brainstorm an idea and come up with it, and then obviously sit there with production and click and just produce a track from nothing upwards. But I very much have to have almost like a vision of the track finished in my head first, and then once I've got that goal, I can work towards it. But it's the goal isn't always there, so it's more a case of I work really hard doing a lot of radio shows. Obviously I'm travelling a lot and doing a lot of remixes and bootlegs and edits just for the sets, and production just fits into there as and when it fits in. It drives my manager insane, because they always say with production you have to have a regular output now, and especially with these house guys that are sitting there with ghost producers that are writing a track every 2 months for them, and Beatport Top 10, and this grind that they seem to be in. And somehow I managed to have survived by not being in that grind where there's been certain years when I've just been making a lot of DJ tools that I've been giving away for free, and maybe wrote 2 original tracks. And then I think last year I wrote more tracks than I'd ever wrote, in any one year. And then then from this year I started off where I did a lot of stuff, and then for the last 3 or 4 months it's I've not really been doing much at all of them, just DJ tools for the sets, because I've been touring so much. But then again I've just started on a couple of new projects as well, which mainly seem to be hardcore, which is quite strange, considering that I'm predominantly known more as hardstyle, hard dance, finishing with a little bit of hardcore at the end. Keep just getting crazy ideas of thinking, what would be great at the end of the set is to finish this, or what would be great near the end of the set would be that. So if these are the ideas that I'm doing, it's I'm not in a position where I have to solely focus my career around my production. It's just one string to the bow, which gives me a little bit more freedom to do what I want. So yeah, obviously how my DJ style is, and what to expect from me, but you can expect quite a lot of hardcore coming up at the moment, because that's what I've been feeling in the studio.
final boss.